Welcome to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo.
Are you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Eerie Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and more. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just love a good ghost story, Eerie Expeditions magazine has something for you. Join our growing community of truth seekers and adventure lovers. Subscribe today at EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com and unlock the secrets of the supernatural. Are you ready? That's EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com, where the extraordinary is just a click away. Dare to discover.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? Welcome to another episode of the Gateway Podcast, broadcasting from the edge of the Mojave, where the strange slips through the cracks. We are live on United Public Radio Network 107.7 FM New Orleans, and I'm your host, C.L. Thomas. Tonight, we're joined by Brian Cano, television personality, paranormal researcher, and featured commenter on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Caught on Camera. Before we get into that, you've been listening to Into the Night with Sean Kelly. And you know what, you guys, I apologize for those who listen to his show every single Sunday. I was supposed to join him on Sunday night, and I was not there. I took the night off. So I do apologize. He does come on again on Sundays at 5 p.m. And I don't know if this Sunday I might join on this. I might not. Who knows? We'll find out pretty soon this week. It's currently 92 degrees here in the Mojave. And the mystery continues. So earlier last week, I gave a report that a hiker found over 70 bodies out here in the desert. They were hiking and just stumbled across, it was like a pile of cremations. Well, the plot thickens. Now there's over 100 piles of cremations out there in the desert. It's just outside of Las Vegas Valley on BML land. So the search continues. There's an investigation underway into where and how they got there. The recent issue of Eerie Expeditions magazine is out, and it's only $6 for the online version. You can download a copy of it at EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com. So I want to get into our guests because that's why everyone is here tonight. They want to hear from our guests. So Brian J. Cano, he's maybe most known for his creation of the world's largest ghost hunt. That wasn't in his bio, but that's what I know him from. He's also written a book. Beyond his television work, Brian is a creative force behind the history of the Paranormal Traveling Exhibit, an immersive and interactive experience that brings the story of supernatural belief and investigation to life. That's why he's coming on. I want to really talk about that. So let me get him on here. Brian, welcome to the show.
Hey, CL, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You said it's 92 degrees out there, where finally the heat has broken here in the New York tri-state area. So everyone's thinking about fall and pumpkin spice and Halloween decorations, and I am on board for it.
I think I am too. It's been about 105 for the last 2 weeks here. So we're ready for it too.
The old adage that I hear from out west is, at least it's a dry heat. Is that is that a consolation, or is it still miserably hot?
So here's how I can put it at you. So until about July, we have this cooling down period. So it's, it'll be 110, 105, but it'll still cool down about 40 degrees at night. It's kind of the desert effect. But come late July and August, that stops happening. So it's a constant heat. So it'll still be 110 out in the middle of the night. So it feels like a convention oven, like a conventional oven. It's the best way to describe it.
So you're getting heated like a hot dog at 7-Eleven out there, huh?
Yeah. And I've actually cooked eggs and everything right on the sidewalks out here.
Nice. Always wondered if you could actually do that, but I wouldn't want to waste the eggs. They're expensive.
They have it on the news every year too, where people will put baked cookies and stuff in their windshields. It's pretty amazing.
Oh, boy.
So to get into our topic tonight, there's so much to talk about with you because you've done everything. You've done the world's biggest ghost hunt. You've written several books. You have a traveling museum. You do a lot of speaking. You're on paranormal TV shows. You're just everywhere. You've got a really fascinating history.
Well, thank you.
I really want to thank you for taking the time to being on my show.
Oh, thanks for asking me.
So what inspired you to get into this field?
Into the paranormal?
Yes.
Well, I feel like this is something that is pretty much instilled in all of us at a very early age. When you're a child, you believe. You have no reason not to, and you have a plethora of things to believe in, be it Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy, Jesus, what have you. You're told this is a wonderful, diverse, mysterious world. And you're like, yeah, this is great. I'm in it. I'm a part of it. I'm gonna see it all and experience it all. And wow, this is amazing. And then you get older and you realize it's about commuting and taxes and politics. And it's just like, you get ground down. And that's what happened to me. I was a child who loved watching shows like In Search of with Leonard Nimoy. I loved paleontology. What kid wasn't into dinosaurs? And back then they were all just big gray lizards. Now the kids growing up today have a lot more to explore and learn about when it comes to dinosaurs. But I thought, okay, when I get older, I'm going to be a paleontologist. I'm going to dig up bones and I'm going to solve mysteries. And I remember, I think when I was 9 or 10, my father had the idea, hey, let's move to Peru, back to where he's from. And my mother and I, being New Yorkers, were like, I don't know about this, but we went. And I remember wandering the countryside with my cousins, and I found a portion of a skull, an animal skull. And it was big. It had lots of teeth, but at the front of it was a very jagged, I don't want to say canine, but there was a very specific type of molar, of tooth. And to my 9-year-old self, I'm like, this must be a saber-toothed tiger skull, part of the jaw. Because again, my imagination was alive with the wonder of that discovery. And it was probably a dog or a coyote or something. But to that young boy, there were possibilities. And as I got older, that was, as I said, ground out of me. But in 2002, some friends and I here on Staten Island decided to start a cable access show called Scared on Staten Island. And in that show, it was a mix of urban exploration and paranormal investigation. But because of the time, there was nothing to compare it to. There was no ghost hunters. There was no ghost adventures. It was just us, our wits, our handheld cameras, and a lot of running around in shaky cam. It's practically unwatchable. But it got me curious again. It got me thinking, well, okay, I'm at a very skeptical phase of my life at this point. I don't believe in anything. I'm having a crisis of faith. I was raised Catholic, but I'm a recovering Catholic. And I said, well, if you've seen ghosts, you say you've seen the spirit of your grandmother. Oh, that house is haunted. If these places are as haunted as everyone says, I should be able to go in with my camera and document it. That was my mindset at the time. And as any skeptic that I now meet, I'm mirrored with the very same thoughts and attitudes that I had back then. And I kind of look and go, wow, I have come a long way in these past 23 years. But that being said, there's other people who've made the journey a lot quicker or had the belief all along. I had to rediscover it. And that's what the paranormal gave me. It gave me back wonder. So now I'm few decades down the line from when I was young, but I still now have that curiosity. And traveling the world has allowed me to, thankfully, embellish my knowledge and really dive into things that when I was a kid, I had no doubt I was going to do. The end credits of In Search Of, you see Amelia Earhart, you see Stonehenge, you see Loch Ness Monster. And with the exception of Amelia Earhart, yeah, I've been to those things. I've been to Area 51. I've been through the Bermuda Triangle. Still plenty of things to check off the list, but I feel, yeah, I'm doing right by my younger self.
What were your impressions of Area 51, just out of curiosity?
Middle of nowhere, government installation. Clearly, I didn't get in. Didn't see any aliens or any craft. I was there years before the infamous storming of Area 51 because they can't stop us all.
Yeah.
But I just thought to be out in the desert, in the desolation and the quiet, there was something so peaceful about it. And yet somewhere in there, even if it had nothing to do with aliens, there's a government installation where they're doing secretive government military things. It's an interesting dichotomy, so that it's a good example of our paranormal world. Yeah, walk outside right now. Wherever you live, wherever you are, it seems, okay, ordinary. But just below the surface, there's something else going on. Look up. There's something going on. Look down. Look around. There's things all around us that we can't always perceive, that we can't see, and yet it exists.
I'm glad you're talking about that tonight, because I was just talking to somebody else earlier this week that I feel like we kind of lost the mystery to the paranormal. It's become so much about, I don't want to talk about the mainstream paranormal right now, but I feel like we've gotten so far away from like the mystery and the joy and what brought us here to begin with lately. So it's interesting that you even bring that up. I also feel like I have an advantage living in Vegas, because every direction I look at is like a different mystery, as far as ghost towns and Area 51 and all of these military installations. It's pretty amazing to live out this way.
Well, I think it really is up to the person, up to the individual to foster and protect that joy. Yeah, I mean, everybody gets into it for their own reasons, but we can't necessarily blame TV or the state of the world or the state of the paranormal into grounding us down to something that we don't enjoy anymore. And believe me, I've felt it. There are days where I'm like, I'm quitting. I can't do this anymore. But you know what? That's on me. And I remember back in 2017, I said, yep, I'm hanging it up. I am done. I'm done with all this. It's just too much. I'm not having fun. I'm not enjoying it. This is ridiculous. I'm retiring. And for a year, I didn't do any events, save for one. And we'll get into that in a little bit. I did nothing, and I didn't make any grand statements on Facebook. I didn't say, I'm leaving the paranormal. Like, no, I just said, you know what? Ghosted. And of course, I kept my contacts. I kept my friends. I would talk to Johnny, and he's like, Hippie, you'll be back. It's a calling. It's who you are. And damn, if he wasn't right, then a year had passed. I got the itch. Like, I want to go out and do this. And that's when I realized it's not about the community. It's not about the world. It's about me. What do I want to do? We can't allow ourselves to be shaped by the forces coming at us. We have to stand firm and say, I am, and this is what I'm about. I don't need to conform to what you're doing. That sounds wrong. If someone's tuning in right now, they're like, what's Brian advocating right now? All the rules, obey the laws, the good things. But for whatever reason you're into the paranormal, or for whatever reason you got into it, follow your joy. If it's to answer questions, cool, do that. If it's because you had an experience when you were young and you're trying to get answers, do that. If you want to make a podcast or a TV show, whatever, it's all valid. Do that. But be aware of it. Know thyself. Know why you're getting into it, and be upfront with others about that. So we can find our people and avoid the ones that don't mesh with our goals.
Yeah. Out of all your travels, what's one location that really affected you?
Ha. Chapter 6, The Circle of Fire, in my book, Grains of Sand, the location which answers all the questions. What's your scariest experience? What's the biggest case you've ever worked on? Have you ever come across the demonic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Like all those big questions. For me, it comes down to the Grand Midway Hotel in Windber, Pennsylvania. And this, as I just kind of previewed, was the one and only case that I ever worked on that I'm comfortable saying deals with the demonic, because it, and even if you don't want to say that word, malevolently negative, this was some nasty stuff. But as with anything else, you can turn it around. This was back in 2009. This was back when we were filming a documentary from my series Scared. And since then, I've had so many creative ventures and adventures at the Grand Midway. In 2016, we landed on the Guinness Book of World Records for painting the world's largest Ouija board on the roof. You can go onto Google Maps right now, zoom in, you'll find it. My friend Chris Mancuso and I got locked in there for a week, voluntarily, of course, for something we called writer's jail, where we said, okay, we told the owner, Blair, you're the warden. Lock us up. We're in jail. We should not get released until we produce a 90-page script to pitch to Hollywood. And Blair, when I got on the phone and told him this, he has a very distinctive laugh. I said, Blair, you're going to be the warden. He goes, okay. And hearing that laugh, I said, what have I gotten myself into? And we were literal prisoners. We had chains on our ankles attached to the bed that reached only as far as the bathroom opposite us in the hallway. We wore prison jumpsuits. We had yard time. We had prison guards that took us around. But because this was a creative venture, the warden also took creative liberties with it too. And he crafted a literal writer's jail. So we interacted with characters. He got people from the town to come in and be other prisoners. There was Chuck the calligrapher. There was the plagiarizer, all literary prisoners. And every day, because this was a social media, this was kind of a stunt too. We wanted social media to interact with us while we were doing it, to see, hey, can we do it? Help spur us on. And I remember the first day, we were treated well. The prison guards came in, gave us a good meal, good breakfast, a good lunch. And that's when the internet turned on us. I don't know why I expected positivity from the internet, but they said, oh, they're supposed to be in jail. They're getting steak. Look at the way those guards are dressed. Oh, they're sexy and wearing skimpy shorts. Like, this isn't right. They're in jail. F them. And the poll went out. He put up a survey every night. He's like, okay, what should the boys get tomorrow? Should they get something nice or weird fish? And the internet unanimously said weird fish. And we got up. My breakfast was a can of sardines. Lunch was leftovers from the local Chinese place, but not the Chinese food you'd want. We got like beaks and claws and just leftover parts from chickens. It was a horrendous experience, but it got our creative juices going. We had visits from the prison psych, a friend of his who actually worked as a prison as a psychologist. It was just a fun thing. And again, this all spurred out of what was your scariest experience? And I love when we can turn something that was negative and make it positive. And so many of the places that I've investigated over my years of doing this, I'll go back many times, not to investigate, but to continue the friendships I've made with the living there.
Interesting. That's really interesting. I don't even know what to say to that, Brian.
You sound like the prison psych. It's like, interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Tell me about your mother.
I head around that. And it sounds like, have you ever heard that experiment where those people, they lock them in jail, and it was, you had some of them that were the prisoner guards, and then the other side was the prisoners. And it was an experiment to test like how far, like everyone says, oh, I couldn't do that. But then in certain situations, this experiment kind of proved that you could. This is what this reminds me of for some reason.
Well, that was the thing in question you're talking about. That's a sociological experiment to see, like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, when roles are reversed, would the prisoners be as cruel as the guards, or would they be understanding? And it's literally a shoes on the other foot type of thing. This was a creative venture. This was when we're home, we have too many distractions. Let's isolate ourselves. And unlike Jack Nicholson in The Shining, who did the same thing, he just wanted to be out in the middle of nowhere and write. We didn't get possessed. We didn't murder anybody. And it worked out a lot better. We had a lot of fun.
But what was the end product? Did you guys write that script?
We did produce a 90-page comedy script that actually we had to perform to the warden. We had to perform selected scenes to judge whether or not we would get released. And then once we got released that night, we went on a bar crawl throughout the town with a copy of our completed script that we just kind of showed around to the town. We got into the local newspaper 3 times that week, and I got a parking ticket on my way out.
Wow. It sounds like an exciting trip.
It was great. And again, that's just, we chose to do that. We chose to go back to a place where we had a very fearful experience, where we literally experienced terror, and we made something different of it. We chose not to let it affect us.
Do you think that can be said with every paranormal location that has sort of this, I hate using the word demon too, because that's, the stereotypical stuff around it, but all these locations that have the demonic side to it, like Conjuring House and all of these different places, can the same be said for those?
I believe that very much like Yoda said in Empire Strikes Back when Luke was asking what's in the cave, he says, only what you take with you. And I think that places like the Conjuring House, and people only know it because of the movie, the Conjuring House, Lizzie Borden House, Bobby Mackey's, people assume negativity before they've even stepped in the door, before they even gotten in the car to drive there. And I know I was that way with Lizzie Borden. I was, oh, that's scary. It's the site of a double murder. But I remember I did an event at Bobby Mackey's several years ago, and I had never been there before. I'd been outside of it. I'd never been inside, but going there, doing the event, in the days and weeks leading up to it, all the people who would leave me comments or would leave me messages going, oh, Brian, be careful. Oh, I saw on that TV show. Oh, there's demons. Oh, don't go in that well. Oh, you're going to get possessed. Oh, be careful. I wouldn't go there. And I'm thinking, well, you're basing this off of a TV show. I'm not going to do that. I went there with positivity, with attendees that were happy to be there. We had a good time. We didn't ask leading questions that might get negative responses. We just conducted an investigation as if, all right, this is the friend. We don't even know what this place is. And the responses we got were positive. There was nothing negative. None of us got possessed. Nothing bad happened. But that doesn't make for good TV. And that's all I'll say about that.
Gotcha. As far as your museum, so you have this this is what I really wanted to talk to you about tonight. You have this traveling museum that's about the history of the paranormal. How exactly, first of all, did you come up with this concept, and why is it a traveling exhibit versus a like a normal museum?
Because I'm a sadist and I like to cause myself pain. Oh no, I would be a masochist. As I mentioned earlier, around 2017, I said I am done with the paranormal. But at the time, I was appearing at this local New Jersey expo, and of all the events that I stopped doing, I said, okay, I'll still do this one, It's so close to me. I won't pull out of this one. But if I'm going to do it, I need something for me. I need to do something that I want to do in association with it. And I said, you know what? Everybody's coming to this convention to meet the people that they watch on TV. It's very much a fan con. There's really no learning happening. There are long lines. It's become a very successful event, but the long lines are there for the most part solely for celebrity. And I said, with all these people here, what if we could teach them something? And yeah, sure, there's lectures and people will sit and listen to them, but I don't really know if they're coming away with anything of value. So I said, give me one of the back rooms. Now this is held in a local high school. So everything is happening in the gymnasium and the auditorium. And it's actually now expanded to other rooms. But that year, I was putting myself all the way in the back in a room, and I printed out these 24 by 36-inch foam core boards that just had information on it. All these boards teaching you about the spiritualist movement, about parapsychology, about old school tools, the new things we use. And I said, oh man, yeah, I'm gonna be away from there. Everyone's gonna go to the gym. They want to meet the ghost hunters. They want to meet the great, awesome. I'm friends with most of those guys. I'm glad they do well. But I assumed I would be lonely and depressed in the back room with my educational exhibit. And much to my surprise, my shocked surprise, I didn't stop all day. The line through my room, through the exhibit, and to me was open to close. I didn't sit once. I didn't eat. I was just meeting people. They were looking at the exhibits. We were playing games because I have a little game show at the end of it. That was the genesis. I thought, okay, people are hungry for knowledge. People are interested in learning more. You just have to provide a way for them to get it, because the TV shows, yeah, that's great. It shows them a place. It shows them equipment. It shows them some process, but there's nothing saying, if you'd like to know more, go to this link, or you can go here, or this is where you can learn more. And very much like Starship Troopers. Would you like to know more? You click the link and boop, it takes you to something else. I decided I'm going to be that outlet. And the next year I returned to that event as well as the paranormal. And I said, okay, let's try it again. Maybe last year was a fluke. No, second year in a row, people were coming through. More people were coming through. And I said, you know what? I don't want to wait for the next year and the next event. I want to take this to where the people are. And the goal very early on was, you know what? I'm going to take this to all 50 states, and I'm not going to stop until I do. And to date, I've been to 13. It's a little hard. Once you take something mobile, it costs the exhibit itself. I have a storage space for it. The storage space it's like its own apartment. So the exhibit is living in an apartment. I'm living in an apartment. I'm paying for both. But taking it from place to place to place, every time I've shown it, I've either added or upgraded an element. So the exhibit that began in that little room in a gymnasium in Woodbridge, New Jersey, is now its own thing. It's quite amazing. If I come out to Nevada, you have to come see it.
Oh, I will definitely. I'm thinking about flying out to wherever you set this thing up, to be honest with you.
See, that's the correct answer. Most people, they're like, when you come into Sheboygan, when you come into my block, you're going to show it at my house? Like, they won't leave. They won't, like, planes exist. You can come to me. So thank you, CL. That's the attitude I want to hear from more people.
I kind of have an advantage, though, because I fly all the time for work. I have like a bunch of airline points and, hotels and all that kind of stuff I have to use up anyway. So it's not me like actually paying money to come to it. It would be like a free thing for me to come see it. But I definitely would.
You didn't have to add that, because all the people listening are like, oh no. I don't want to. I went to North Carolina. North Carolina was the last
ticket or something.
North Carolina was the last showing I had, the most recent showing. And as I was going down there, I said, okay, I cannot go to North Carolina and not do something with the Rhine Research Center. And we had a great time. We had a Friday night little get together where we bent spoons at the Rhine.
Are you
And
doing that mentally?
um, physically and mentally, I thought it was like the Matrix, where I'm like, bend the spoon, but like the Matrix says, oh, that's impossible. Rather, it's you using your mind to weaken the bond so that you can bend it more easily. Like you can't just like you could bend a spoon if you really tried, but to do it easily, just boop, that's a different story. I'm down in North Carolina. I said, okay, I'm going to reach out to everyone I know in North Carolina. I sent them individual, personalized messages like, hey, I'm coming to your area. Come see my thing. One person was like, oh, it's an hour away. I don't like driving on the freeway. And I'm like, I'm driving 8 hours with people and an exhibit in tow. Drive one. Like, really? That's some of the challenges I face with this exhibit. And again, education admittedly isn't sexy, but I try to find a way to make it entertaining. There are immersive elements. There's interactive displays. So it's kind of like I took a lot of inspiration from children's museums. It's one thing to just passively look at something or be told something and it doesn't really sink in. But if you're interacting with it physically, or you're having a conversation, or you're playing a game, all right, that's going to stick. And in the exhibit, it takes you through belief, why belief is important. It takes you through the spiritualist movement. It takes you, there's a tarot card reader. You sit down, you have your cards read. You go on to look at old school tools, old things that were done back in the 1800s through now. There's a new display called The Power of Curses, where I address Haunted Collector and all the things that back when we premiered, everyone's like, oh, that's just a gimmick. But no, it's a thing. Take you through parapsychology. At the end of the exhibit is what I call the game show. And there are 12 images, 12 portraits of paranormal pioneers, people that you should know. They've all passed. There's no Jason, there's no Grant, there's no Zach, there's nobody who's alive.
Or are the Warrens on that list?
Of course they are.
They are?
They're pioneers. They are people, and that's the thing, they're probably the most famous of, everyone knows them. So the object is to take the name tags and match them with the image. But I always put Ed and Lorraine Warren on first because that's too easy. That's the free one you get because you're going to get it anyway because of the Conjuring movies. And hey, that's great. If a movie gets you to know who they are and you look into them deeper, I'm all for it, which is why I try to make my exhibit entertaining so that you have fun learning. And I throw a lot of information at people, but if they leave knowing just one more name or one case or a concept, and then they take it to their friends and then they tell them, we all learn and improve together. A rising tide raises all boats.
Can you tell me about, I'm really interested in the spiritualism exhibit that you have. And you just been to Lilydale with
I have.
Perry and I forget who else you went with.
John Zaffis.
Yes. Did you guys find anything while you were there?
We didn't go there necessarily to investigate, but to host events. So we each had our own lectures and talks. Dustin and I performed our Pathways interactive show. And when we did have an investigation, it was a 2-hour investigation. So it's not like you're going to solve the paranormal in a 2-hour public hunt. But that being said, Lilydale, the Lilydale Assembly was a very chill place. Your stress just melts away because you are removed from the rest of the world. And I didn't know exactly what to expect, but what I found was a little bit of peace. And I enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to going back.
That's what it was for me too. It's a very healing kind of place, very positive and healing. But your exhibit on spiritualism, tell me about that.
Well, the spiritualism portion of it, the exhibit is for the most part arranged semi-chronologically. So that comes very soon in the pathway. So I always have it that you kind of have to walk a path and you're introduced to the topics as you arrive at them. And one of the first ones is the spiritualist movement of the 1800s. And most of it focuses around the Fox sisters. While they weren't the first to practice spiritualism, they were among the first to really bring it to the public, to really make it a thing, to really I guess you could call them the spokeswomen of spiritualism. And I have, not to give it away, but I have a portrait of them that sits there. And as you're looking at other displays, as you're reading other facts, sometimes they will speak to you. And I love watching people get startled when all of a sudden Leia says, "Look alive, girls, we have company." And people turn to watch this skit that I wrote and filmed about the Fox sisters. And again, it's one thing to give you a whole sheet and say, "Here, learn about the Fox sisters." They're talking amongst themselves and telling about their journey kind of next to you and talking to you. That's going to sink in better. And I think it's important for people to know where this all got started. And back then, there was no parapsychology. It was psychical research. And along with that, instead of Friday nights, like Friday nights and Saturday nights now, people going ghost hunting. But back then, seances. It was the rich, the well-to-do. These were status symbols. Like, yes, we're going to hold the seance. And they would employ the hottest psychic medium they could find. And of course, there's lots of different ones. How many of them are frauds? How many how many spirit photographers were caught faking evidence? This is important because, again, yes, little has changed, but it started somewhere.
It was all of them. Did you know that Abraham Lincoln's wife, Mary, she did that on Friday? She would have a psychic medium come in, and supposedly there was a psychic medium named Nellie who had given Abraham Lincoln advice on the Civil War. I just read a book about this.
Yes, Mary Todd Lincoln was very much like the first ladies of other administrations, very into spiritualism and psychics and taking advice. And who knows, maybe he shouldn't have gone. Maybe he was advised not to go to that theater that night. But maybe that was also a block universe event that no matter what poor Abraham did, it was gonna get him one way or another.
Yeah, I think unfortunately that was just his cards, you know.
Yeah.
In Lilydale, did you see when you walk into that one hotel? Did you see all the paintings that were precipitated supposedly through the mediums that are hanging on the walls in there?
I did not go into the hotel. I was staying in the assembly hall, so going there, seeing where their masses are held. I did look at all the portraits of all the people who ran it before, but I didn't see those psychic portraits. Since I wasn't staying at the hotel, I felt weird walking in there.
Yeah, there's a lobby in there where they used to have seances when that was first opened. And
now I know what to look for when I go back.
Yeah, you have to go in there. There's a bunch of original paintings that were precipitated from the spirit world, and one of those is actually Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
On one of the walls. It's pretty fascinating, and that should go in your exhibit.
You know, I've curated a lot of different things, and again, like I'm always upgrading, adding to the exhibit, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and better. But I do like when people donate things and say, "Hey, this is something that people need to see," and it hasn't been a lot. Most of the stuff I've gathered and curated myself or duplicated to show, "Hey, people, this is something that is out there." The bigger it gets, the more people hear about it. People want to be involved, and that's why I was pleased when you reached out to me to talk about it for Eerie Expeditions magazine. And that's the thing. This is where we have a lot in common. No one told you to make a magazine, but you took it upon yourself. You're like, look, this is something that needs to get out there. And it's a lot of work. And we feel like, oh, no one's going to appreciate it. And why am I doing this? But it's important. So just as when I get down and go, I'm going to stop doing this, I'm going to tell you, do not stop doing this. I want you from time to time to be like, Brian, don't stop doing this, because it's important and the information needs to get out there.
Thank you. Yeah.
Lord knows TV isn't doing it.
The magazine is, I kind of struggled with it. I did get the issue out, and I got another one coming out next month. And I love doing it. I really do. It's some other factors that aren't so nice.
See, that's the thing. At its core, it's a creative venture. You are creating the layout, the pictures, the prose, everything that goes into it is coming from you and the other writers. And people take it for granted. It's just a magazine. Oh, I read and I throw it in a pile. But that is a literal, like that, something from nothing. And I think it needs to be appreciated more.
Well, thank you, Brian. There was another thing I wanted to ask you about your museum. I wanted you to talk a little bit about the EVP section and how you have that set up.
As one of the interactive elements, I have a couple of iPads throughout the exhibit, one with pictures, and the picture one has a lot of sourced photographs from around the community. There's people I know who just said, hey, do you think this is good? I said, yeah, put it in there. With the EVPs, I have an iPad that just has, you open it up and you can listen to EVPs I've collected from around the world and around the country. And it's just to show, and these are obviously some of the better ones that I've captured, just to show that, yes, this is a thing. And typically you'll have couples come in, and more often than not, I'm going to be stereotypical, the woman is the believer. She wanted to come, but okay, the husband drove her. He doesn't believe. He's a skeptic. He's only here because I had nothing else to do today. Oh, but I did have an experience. Hold on a second. I have this picture. Hold on. Let me find it. Just, yeah, I don't believe. This is all nonsense, but here. Oh, what do you think of this? And I feel like a lot of skeptics believe they just want their permission to do so. And you can't force that on them. They have to come to it in their own time. So things like the EVP station, I'm like, yeah, well, you know what? I don't get anything by converting you. But that being said, listen and judge for yourself. I want to give you something to think about. This is this is not a timeshare presentation where I'm going to do a hard sell. You got to buy the paranormal, No. Here it is. Wonder, explore, reflect. Sometimes in order to move forward, you have to look back. And that's what the exhibit is about, looking back at where we've been in order to know, okay, how do we move forward?
That's a good point, because somebody brought to me, I do a lot of spirit art drawings and things for people as readings. And somebody a couple of weeks ago said, well, that doesn't prove anything to me that this exists. And, my response to that was, it's not my job to convert you to one belief or another. That's just not my job. I'm just here to present what's brought to me, and that's it. You either take it or you don't. But it's not my job to prove the paranormal to you if it exists or not.
Oh, Neil deGrasse Tyson has a great quote. He goes, the universe is under no obligation to explain itself to you. And I feel that way very much. But again, when I started this journey, I was a skeptic. I was one of those people saying, prove it. Less to be argumentative, but more because I wanted to know. I want to know how it's done. I want to know all the answers. And those of us who come to it with that in mind, yeah, we're going to be constant explorers. We're always going to be looking. But some people are just skeptical just to be argumentative. And I know there's some people out there. There's one guy who has kind of made a decent existence as a professional skeptic, and for the most part, it's just like, you're not being skeptical. You're just being kind of a jerk. There, I said it. I think it's important to be skeptical. I'm still skeptical. I consider myself a skeptical believer, but as I look back on my very skeptic days, I thought, yeah, I was really rigid. I had blinders on. And my book that I wrote, Grains of Sand, Tales of a Paranormal Life, every chapter of that book is a tale of a moment or an experience that, yeah, had I not been so closed off, maybe I would have learned that lesson sooner. But again, better late than never.
So in your opinion, since you've been around the paranormal for quite a bit, you've done all this research, you have your traveling exhibit, do you believe in the paranormal?
Do I believe in the paranormal? Yeah, absolutely. That's like saying, hey, do I believe the earth exists? Do I believe the sun is there? Do I believe the stars are out there? And here's the thing. You got people who now believe in flat Earth again, and I feel like we've come so far. Why are we backpedaling? But there was a time where we all believed in flat Earth, and the people who said that Earth was round were the crazy. So I always give them their 5 minutes. I say, okay, sell it to me, talk to me, let me hear your ideas. Because again, who knows? Imagine we were wrong. Imagine that.
Yeah, I don't think we're wrong.
Now stop imagining that because it's ridiculous. But do I believe in the paranormal? Absolutely. I know the universe has a lot of mysteries. And again, this meat suit we're in, honestly, there is only so much RAM up there. There's only so much information that we can perceive and understand without us going crazy. Again, it's like any of the movies or TV shows that you can watch, Supernatural, Dogma, where you have an interaction with angels or God, and there's just this high-pitched noise, or you can't hear God's true voice without exploding because, higher dimensionally, how could we understand that? In the same way that we can look down at lower forms of life, how can an ant understand that in April we have taxes to do? It can't perceive that. It can't understand that. It knows work, 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 and work. And then all of a sudden there's this gigantic thing in its space that's like, okay, work. And to them, we might be unexplainable, paranormal. To borrow a line from an old friend of mine, the paranormal is normal. We just don't understand it.
That's a really great, thank you. That was a really good answer.
I try.
So what do you have coming up next? Do you have any other projects coming up? Are you working on any other books or productions or anything like that?
The answer is yes. I am notoriously slow at everything. I'm a one-man army. I've got nobody, no crew anymore, no backs, no connections, no... Well, actually, that's not true. I have patrons. I have a Patreon site, and they are all very supportive. They are all very supportive of me and my work, and they're good cheerleaders to say, yeah, Brian. And for those patrons who are watching right now, you're the example of this. The fact that I said, hey, I'm going on CL's show, and you're here and you're watching, I thank you for that. I am concurrently juggling many things. The second book, it's a hard one. I've started it and put it down many times because I want to do something of import. The first book was just me telling my story and my tales and things I've learned. The second one, I want it to be something that is referred to for years to come. So I still have more research to do, and that's where I'm going to leave that. But just today, I was working on the upgraded 15th anniversary of the John Zaffis documentary that came out in 2010 called John Zaffis, The World Within. It's being refreshed and upgraded with new material. And again, just like my exhibit, I can't leave it alone. I have to keep adding to it. I have to keep upgrading to it. And that's going to release sometime by the end of this year to my patrons first, and then who knows where else. I'm the ambassador for the Haunted History Trail of New York State, which is a tourism initiative that highlights interesting places in the Empire State that you can go to. The website for that is hauntedhistorytrail.com. You can request a free brochure where it gives you a map and little highlights of all the places, all the interesting places that you yourself can formulate your own adventure in New York State. And I'm proud to be a part of that. I'm a New Yorker, so I said, yeah, who better to represent their state in the paranormal?
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I need to get a hold of them. Maybe they want to do some writing for the magazine or something. That'd be pretty nice.
The trail, New York State is sentient. That's amazing. That's why we can't get anything. That's why things are so weird here.
Oh, man. So do you live in downtown New York?
Downtown, making my way downtown, walking fast. I'm in Staten Island, which is one of the boroughs of New York City. It is the southernmost portion of New York. It's not Long Island, it's Staten Island.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out where exactly you are in New York. My office is in New York, so when I think of New York City, I think of just hustle and bustle, and like it's so hard to experience, in my opinion, anything paranormal in that city. but I could be completely wrong. Every time I go there, I'm just overwhelmed and everything downtown. So,
Well, consider the huge amount of people that are 7 million people all choosing to live together on that tiny little island. All the energy, all the intent, all the focus. That place has to be incredibly haunted just from the energy that is deposited there. The land before people got there, in addition to, remember, hauntings aren't necessarily always about the dead. It's about energy. It's about that vibration. You could be haunting your own place as a residual because, again, you're constantly expending energy. You're constantly leaving little bits of yourselves behind. So that shadow form that you see sometimes and you turn around and it's gone, it might not be a ghost. Well, actually, it's a ghost, but it's a ghost of you and you're not dead. So Manhattan, yeah. Just think of just, all right, walk from the Battery, walk up to Central Park, walk up to the Cloisters. It'll take you a while, but feel everything just empathically. The sorrow, the hustle and bustle. Yeah, it's a hustle and bustle, but a lot of people don't like it. Friends of mine are like, oh, it's too people-y. Well, no, yeah, of course it is. 7 million people there. We're feeling all their energy. It's not ours, but it can be overwhelming.
yeah, that's kind of what I get every time I visit the office. I have to go to the office here in a few weeks, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Oh,
for that reason.
well, I mean, enjoy. That's the thing. Again, it all comes down to choice. Choose to enjoy the food, the culture, go see a show, go walk in the park. Just don't worry about everyone else's hustle and bustle because they're busy living their own lives. They have their own stories that they're living out that you're in the way of. Focus on you. Focus not on, oh, God, I hate the city. Think, I get to go there.
What? I don't hate the city. That's not fair. I do like the city. I do.
It's an amazing place. I hate the city, but I love it. And I'm a New Yorker, so I can say that.
I really like the pizza. That's my favorite part. Especially the
Pizza's
little
good.
dive holes where where you just walk in and you have to stand there at the counter. and
Get a
eat it.
slice. Yep.
God, love it.
That's the charm. You can get it at all hours of the night, too.
Yes, you can. Well, Brian, we are all out of time, and I'm so sorry I've been getting off topic here and there. You're just
Hey,
kind of
no,
fun.
this is fun.
You're fun to talk to.
Thank you.
Tell people if they want to hire you in your moving exhibit, how do they go about doing that?
Ooh, hire me. Yeah, so if you have a problem and no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the B team. No. You can go to my website, neverstopsearching.com, or if you want to actually help fund the exhibit, that's what many of my patrons do. Patreon.com/Brian J. Cano. Your contribution helps me achieve goals, and it helps with that exhibit and the apartment it lives in, that it's not doing anything when it's not being shown, but it's being worked on and upgraded. So yeah, any patronage is appreciated.
And what if they have something they want to donate? Is it the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you get in touch with me, don't dump your horribly haunted item that is wrecking havoc in your life. That's John Zaffis. He'll take that. But if it's a historical relic or something of interest in a museum setting, then yeah. And that's the thing. Here's the misconception. People think, oh, I have a haunted museum. Nope. That's the Warrens. That's John Zaffis. That's everybody else. Everybody else wants haunted museums. I have one haunted object in the museum. And that's it. Just to show this is a thing. And also because I don't need the rest of my items being haunted.
What is that haunted object?
It's an idol from Hawaii.
Interesting.
I thought so too.
What do people expect whenever you do come out? Do you just show up in a moving truck basically and then unpack your stuff and set it up?
20-foot truck. I come, I spend the day, me and my team, we set it up, then we open up, and usually 2 days later, we tear it down. There's often a investigation portion because that's the thing. People want to hunt. That often pays the bills. I wish I could just set it up and have it do well for the sake of education and mental exploration. But people want to hunt. People want to be excited. So we offer that too. And every place we go is different. So each state has its own gems and little hidden haunts that hopefully in partnership with my exhibits, we can come out together. Everybody wins.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me tonight. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, see, I think this is pretty much it. I mean, again, as a New Yorker and being who I am, if I start talking, I won't stop. So I just want to say thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. You guys, we are at the end of the hour. You've been listening to Brian Cano and his traveling haunted history traveling exhibit. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. I'm really sorry. You've been listening to The Gateway, broadcast from the edge of the Mojave where the strange slips through the cracks. United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM New Orleans. Thank you guys for listening and tune in until next time.